Welcome. Thank you for being with us today. Super happy to have Brad and company back once again to talk more about the investment opportunity with enhanced AI, sorry. It's also pretty advanced, as I've come to find out. So thank you all for joining. We're going to go right into the details and the official pitch from an investor pitch perspective. And just a thank you to Paul and Jeff to bringing Brad and company to us and Family Office Insights community. We super appreciate it. I've had the opportunity to dig a little deeper post the last webinar and see how this actually works, and it's pretty fascinating. And I think the no code part of it for the pedestrian in me is very helpful. I actually think I could use it as opposed to having somebody else do it. So it's been pretty fascinating to dig a little deeper, and so you'll learn a little bit more about that today. So we're recording this, and we're going to post it to the Family Office Insights YouTube channel, and hopefully to the Enhanced AI's YouTube channel, preferably. And then we'll make sure everybody gets in touch directly post-webinar so you can talk about the potential of investing in the company. Also, Brad has mentioned to me that he's super open to having people as customers as in a business development way. So also keep that in mind. So with that, thank you all for being here today. And Brad, you want to take it away?
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, thanks for having us on again, Arthur. It's been really great getting to know
Welcome.
you and your process, and exploring AI and how do you apply AI in your daily work, right? We all hear a lot about
Fascinating. Yeah.
we hear a lot about it, but the question is, how do you really use it, right? Great. Well, so I'm going to share my screen here, and I just got a couple of slides and some kind of a demo to run through. Let's jump into share mode. So real quickly, just who am I? Just a background about myself. You may not know who I am. I'm Brad Moss. But if you've been in the e-commerce world, you've probably used systems and businesses that I've built before. So I have a background inside of Amazon. So out of business school, I went into Amazon and I ran the third-party selling marketplace platform. So that's the platform, all third-party sellers, all the goods for third parties sell through this platform. Right now, it's about $200 billion a year. I run through that platform. When I was running it, it was about $60 billion. So a little smaller, but still enormous. And I built a new business for Amazon, selling on the mobile app. That was another new business that I built while I was there. And since have left, but even before then, I've been building product, and I've built over 60 different video games in my career, done stuff for EA and Microsoft and Disney and all the big guys, from big to small, and been very into just innovative technology, my whole career. And after, going to Amazon, doing some pretty big stuff there, I came out and bought some companies, sold some companies. I've had 3 exits. And now, a couple of years ago, I got into AI. And that's really what I've been focusing on. But I didn't focus on it for AI because it was before the whole ChatGPT craze kind of happened. And at the time, I was building, I was trying to solve an operational problem. And leaning back on my video game days, video games are really hard to build, particularly building a profitable video game, because the business takes so much time and money to iterate through a game enough times to make it a good game, and then not just to make it a good game, but now make it profitable. It's pretty expensive to do that. So I was actually iterating on this process and had something to a point where Netflix was really interested. We had 4 different meetings with them. Microsoft was interested. Some other major studios were interested in what we were doing, because I had used AI to streamline the development process, the iteration process of game development. But at that time, my Amazon brain then kicked in, and said, well, instead of building one one application with all this this powerful AI technology, how would I build a whole platform where I could build 1,000 different things, or someone could customize the AI to fit not just this one particular use case in video games, but could fit business operations, could fit sales and marketing, and could fit finance. And so that's where what I shifted into, and started the company called Enhanced AI. And we built this platform, been spending the past year and a half building the actual platform here. And that is this whole platform to build customized AI components. Now, let me show you an example of why this matters, an example situation here. So many people get an RFP, right? When we're working through business, particularly consultants, you get an RFP from a company, and then you need to respond to that RFP. So what a lot of people do, the question, raise the hand in the call, right, is how many people have used ChatGPT? Likely everybody. But if I was to go to ChatGPT to try and to respond to an RFP, I would go in here, and this is exactly what I did. I said, write a response to the following RFP. And I pasted the RFP in here from the client. And then I got back the following response from ChatGPT. So I wrote back, dear John Doe, here's an overview about our firm. Here's our capabilities. It was pretty good because AI is pretty awesome in and of itself, but it wasn't that great. And I would never send this. It's probably like 30% ready. It actually made up some stories about us as a company. It did a bunch of just kind of okay things. I mean, AI is awesome for what it is. So it was awesome that it did something back so intelligent, but it was just missing a lot. So now
Hey, Brad, just 1 second, if it's okay. Did it have any data that you had fed into it previously about Enhanced AI, or did it find it somewhere else?
No. So that's the back and forth that you need to now do. So if I was in chat scenario, I would feed this in, and then I would say, okay, now add this about my company. Now add this about me. Now add this about so-and-so. And then you have this back and forth. That's what a lot of people do. You have this back and forth with ChatGPT like 10 times. And then it starts hallucinating, and it forgot who my company was by the time I'm doing my 20th response, or it forgot this key piece of information. And so it eventually actually starts forgetting, and it doesn't really get me where I need to get to do an RFP.
Got it.
So that's kind of the typical process, what I've gone through. And that's a great call out there. Now, on our platform, so we built this platform. It's a no-code platform where I can drag and drop these models, but I'll run through this briefly, and we can go into more detail as people have questions. But really what you do is, this is a similar thing. And so through the platform, here's the RFP right here, and I loaded it in, and I just asked, hey, the exact same question, write me a response. And it came back with a very similar response of what we just saw in ChatGPT. Now, I've gone through and added more things, and I'll show you in a second, but this is the response that came back with all this detail about the strategy development, the creative technology, the phase, the timing, how much it's going to cost, exactly when we're going to do deliverables. Oh, by the way, here's a good case study. As a response to my RFP to the RFP that just came in. To show you the flow that we built here, right, we have a similar thing where we have the RFP come in, and then we actually ask AI, hey, you're a consultant. Let's list out the deliverables that we want to do based on this RFP that we want to call out. Now let's refine these deliverables. And now, by the way, let's go scrape the internet for information about us as a company, and then also good things, examples of good RFPs that we've written in the past. And then we continue on, and we add several additional pieces here, but it's not too many. To be honest, it's like only 5 different steps here. And then we have it generate all into the RFP, and we have this really good tight RFP. We even have one that has the exact team member who's going to be on each phase and what they would oversee. And the AI is generating all of this based on all the content we gave them. Now, the setup here probably took us about 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes to set up and just think through how would we build an RFP response. Now, after we've done it, the benefit is we now can put any new RFP that comes in, run it through this process, and within, a minute, 1 to 2 minutes, we're going to have this whole thing pumped out, and we're going to have an RFP response that's beautiful, and it's to the point where it's 90%, 90 to 95% where I could send this off to a client. Now I'd want to go through and you want to review I would review RFP no matter what, right? But it's now 90% there instead of like 30% there. And I don't have to it was within 1 minute of the new RFP coming in, I send it through this whole process. And that's an example of just like one example of many things. I mean, it's infinite, the type of things that you can build with this system when you're chaining and automating together AI commands. And that's what we mean when we say this is AI automation, because you're going from one step to another, you're adding data on every step, you're copying response from the AI to do for the next response, et cetera, et cetera.
So
now,
the point here, just I think might be important, is that your system will allow things to be stored in memory as opposed to it hallucinating eventually and not creating, a good output. And, doing it this way in that it took you 50 minutes is probably a fraction of what it would otherwise take if you did it manually. That's the first thing, right? And then once you built this, then it goes, the time saving is exponential because it's kind of like software, right? Once you build the software, you can sell it for, $100, and the development cost is all in the original. So you can just repeat, right? Is that fair?
That's 100% correct. Yeah, no, it's 100% correct. You're right. Yeah, you're right on the money. And the thing is that the power of AI now allows you to be building these on your own. Whatever new idea or new system or slight change to what you currently have, you can create something slightly different just for you and customized just for you. And now you almost have your own little software, your automated system that generates things.
Hey, real quick. So my name's Mark, by the way. I head up sales. And one of the challenges or early challenges we had was, where do we go? Because this can do so much. A lot of times with a startup, like Brad said, we've all been in startups before, is where do you go initially? And so that's why we're starting to target a lot of these consulting groups, these groups that are building their own tools to allow them to iterate on their processes and make their processes more seamless. It's been pretty incredible because you can see Brad is able to build that module. That module is now saved that responds to RFPs. He doesn't have to build that again. He can just feed RFPs into it and follow that same flow and same process. So the ability to create your own tools within the platform is really helping us to narrow focus on who to go after first. But as you can also tell, it can expand like crazy as far as what the market will bear for this, because we can leverage any of the AI platforms. It's not just one. And you can feed it through multiple different types of AI platforms. That's why we're platform agnostic. That's why we want to connect all of those instead of just rely on a single one like ChatGPT.
That's right. I appreciate that, Mark. And that leads directly to who we're focusing on. And one of the things we know everyone needs, I mean, it's so powerful. We could, go after any particular industry, but when we're thinking through, and as we've talked to several hundred clients about the tool and done demos, we're at the point where we're focusing on the customers who actually need the flexibility and don't want just a one-stop tool to solve all of their problems with just one tool. And that's, as we've talked with early clients, they're saying, well, I was pitched 20 AI tools today or over the last week. This does all of them in one. This is awesome. This is exactly what I want. And so when you're launching any new SaaS or new business, what do you need? Really, you need, I say you need hands, you need fans. You need it in the hands of people, and you need those people to be fans. And so what we're really focusing on are the consulting industry initially as our go-to-market, because they're the ones who need these Swiss Army knives. They have so many different customers, or each customer has a slightly different need, and they need to adjust what they're doing. But it also helps them in their own businesses and grow their business. It helps them grow their own capacity. And we actually brought John on here, who's been using it inside of his company for a while. And maybe John, maybe you could say one or two things about your feelings so far, but just using Flux Prompt in the system, what you guys have kind of done with it. You are on mute if you're talking.
There we go. Thanks so much, Brad and team, for having me on. Yeah, Brad and I, we had the privilege of working together, before. And, when he reached out and said, hey, John, because we would randomly connect and talk about crazy ideas and try to solve all of the world's problems, and it would be really fun. But he called me up a few months ago and said, I've got this new AI product that I want you to test out. And I am the epitome of one of those people who gets like 20 pitches on this kind of stuff every single week. But it took me about 5 minutes to realize that Flux Prompt was different because of its ability to connect all of the different things. So there's lots of things that we're either in the middle of building or already using. I'll talk about one particular product that we've already rolled out and is already actively being used in our agency, even though I will say we have multiple different products within inside of Flux Prompt that we plan on rolling out here in the future. But one of them is an article writer. Now, you can go to ChatGPT and you can say, hey, write me an article, make it X number of words long and have it be about this. And you will get back exactly what you expect, a pretty terrible article that nobody is going to read, and it is not very interesting. What we've done, and is this ours, Brad?
Well, this isn't yours.
This one isn't ours. Okay. We have one where what we do is that we have a team of marketing experts. And what we have historically done, let me walk you through this process, is that let's say we have a client that wants to rank for something on top of Google. So what we'll do is we'll go to Google and we'll type in a keyword that this client wants to rank for, and we'll start looking at all of the websites that rank for this term. And what we do is that we will look at each and every single one of those websites, and we'll look to see, how long is the content that ranks? How many times do they say this keyword? Who is the author of this? What type of tone, what type of style are they writing in? Like, we have to do a ton of research, and what it does is it tells us, in order for us to write an article that's going to rank, here's what that article needs to look like. And so we create this thing called a content brief. A content brief will say, hey, you need to write an article that's 2,000 words long. It needs to be written in this tone. It needs to include these keywords X number of times. It needs to have 5 images. It needs to have 7 links. It needs to reference 10 experts. It needs to be written by, so-and-so. And that's a big part of what we do in marketing. We create content that ranks on Google. Well, once a content brief is done, then historically what we would do is that we would take that to a team of writers, and we would say, okay, let's write a piece of content. And so that'll typically have anywhere between a 4 to a 14-day turnaround time. We then almost always have a second writer who will do quality assurance, who will reread it, and then we have to give it to another team member who will go through and put what we call links in it, or who will cite the sources. We have another team member who will add images. I mean, writing really good content that's designed to rank on Google is actually a very time-intensive task. What Flux Prompt has done is that now, instead of going through this whole process, what we do is there are 5 boxes. There are 5 boxes that we go in and we input information, okay? We put in information like, what should the title of the article be? We put in information like, how long should it be? What are some of the terms that it should say? What are some questions that a reader of this article might have? Like, things that take maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes to answer, all right? And then it goes through this amazing process that we've built. It's about 20 steps, takes about 7 minutes, and it spits out an amazing article that, as Brad says, is pretty much 90% of the way there. I would say that, every time we've Edgar, how many times have we reiterated this thing? A few, right? But it's so good right now. It's so good. And that's what we've done. We've taken this process that could literally take up to 2 weeks. And now we can get an article that's almost ready to deliver to a paying customer within 20 minutes. So it's been an incredible time saver for us. And again, this is not available. I want to be very clear, and then I'll turn it back over to Brad. This type of system is not available with a ChatGPT. This is not something you like. The biggest problem that ChatGPT has, and Brad already hinted at a little bit, it forgets. It does. Like, you will give it a prompt, and then it'll give you an answer, and then you'll say, okay, we'll tweak it like this, and then it'll update your answer, and then we'll add this, and it'll update it, and eventually, after 4 or 5, it forgets. And it'll start to mess up information that you've already prompted it. I have a great example of this that I've shown people, where I ask them to create an image of a person, and then I ask it to make that person a little larger. And then within 2 more iterations, it makes that person skinny again. And I have to say, make this person larger, because it forgets. And it does the same thing with the written content. FluxPrompt doesn't forget, because it goes through the entire chain, and each new box takes the information from the old box to update the new box. Anyhow, so look, it is pretty exciting stuff, and we are really just, from an agency perspective, we're just scratching the surface of what it can do. But so far, that's our biggest use case. We're using it to produce really amazing content. Then instead of having 3 different people work on it, we have one person who goes in, adds a few edits, adds a few tweaks to it. But at the end of the day, we have a pretty amazing piece of content that's ready to be delivered to customers.
Awesome.
Hey,
Thanks.
John,
Yeah, go ahead, Arthur. I was going to say, do you have questions for?
yeah, excuse me. John, does the process that you've created here, obviously you've iterated it several times to make it do what you want it to do. Once you've got it to a point, you can always continue to, edit it and make it better if possible. But does it learn what you want to do as you go along, or is it completely a function of what you tell it to do? Is that
That's probably a better question for Edgar or Brad than for me. Oh, I've got an echo there somewhere. I'm not sure where. Okay. Yeah, Edgar, how would you answer that question? I mean, it's a smart platform, but it still does require us to input and put in information. I would say that within the flows that we're using, one thing that is sort of being updated is that whenever there's a new, like, for example, when ChatGPT, like, we've been using FluxPrompt since it was ChatGPT 3, then there was 3.5, and then there was 3.5 Turbo, and now there's 4, and there's 4 Rainbow Turtle Shell, I don't know, whatever they're going to call it next. But all we have to do to update to the latest versions is there's one dropdown, and we just select the dropdown and select the new model. So it's not doing that automatically, but I don't know exactly how to answer that question, but that's the best answer I have for you. With one click, you can update it.
The answer's a different question, but a good one. Yeah. I'm not suggesting it has to learn like AI or whatever machine learning type thing. I was just wondering if, on the one hand, if it learned, that would be nice, but it also could go off the rails, right? So this is, one way to keep it in check, that it's static in terms of the flow.
Right. I think that, so first of all, artificial intelligence is getting better and better, right? OpenAI they just deployed a brand new change and a new system, many more upgrades to some of the technologies that they're creating. So it's going to continue to evolve, and yes, it will continue to learn and become even better and better. Now, having said that, part of the problem with artificial intelligence is that it is an algorithm. It is basically choosing, depending on what it's learned in the past, it's continually choosing what is going to be in the future, right? Or in this specific prompt. The beauty behind tool like FluxPrompt is that you can infuse your company, your brand, your style, all of it into your product. So it is more like you than what the average would be, right? To answer that prompt, right? And so that's one of the things that we love about this. But when we're doing this, one of the things I like to tell people is that when you're interacting with artificial intelligence, like you're basically talking to your assistant. You're basically saying, hey, look over these things and do this thing, right? And that's all it needs. So it's not requiring a ton from us. It's just requiring some direction, right? And then you give it more context. Here's the way that our brand is. Here's what our company does. Here's the way that we want to be portrayed. And that's the beautiful piece of it, right? So yes, it will learn. And then the other thing I was going to say is that one of the things that we're really excited about is now that as we get more and more customers, we're learning about the different flows that people are creating. And in the future, we'll be able to just create flows for them because of the things that we're learning. There's a lot of technologies out there right now that are starting to explore this type of stuff. We can do that as well. So it's going to be kind of fun, right? And we will be able to help people create flows much faster and much better.
Yeah,
The one more thing that I'll add to that real quick is that in some instances, and I think this is one of them, we actually don't want it to get too creative on its own, because the direction that we're giving it needs to be adhered to. So for example, we're telling it how long it needs to be, and it needs to adhere to that. It was actually one of the challenges we ran into in one of the very beginning flows, is that it wouldn't quite create it content that was long enough. So through a few different iterations, we got it to a point where it would actually follow those directions. So to answer the question, it's incredibly intelligent and very smart. At the same time, it needs to listen to the direction, not freelance it too much, or else it's not going to give us the end result that we need.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Brad, we have a question about I think I know the answer, but I'll let you answer it. What's the relationship of Flux Prompt and Enhanced AI?
Yeah. Enhanced AI is the company, and Flux Prompt is the platform or tool
Yeah, that's right.
within Enhanced AI.
Right. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, something I wanted to touch on briefly, Arthur, is from a market standpoint, that's what a lot of companies are missing, is they'll build a niche tool that solves one problem. And everybody in the office is probably sick of me saying this, but every time a new LLM or a new AI tool is launched, or a new platform is launched, like a ChatGPT or a Bard, we're cheering them on, because we don't care who wins that battle. Everybody has different strengths. We can connect to all of them. And then what the difference is how are we going to leverage all of those? So even within a single prompt or within a single workflow, it could have or be leveraging multiple AI tools. And so from a market standpoint, where we're going is giving people the ability to actually leverage these tools and make it their own, without having them put all of their eggs in one AI basket. We're providing every basket to them, so that they can leverage the benefits and the strengths of each of those tools and each of those platforms. That's where people are missing the boat, is there's no one system to connect them all. From outside data coming in from your other systems, pushing that data out, leveraging any of the workflows that we've built, like that's where we see a huge gap in the marketplace, and where a lot of companies can benefit, because they can build their own tools, save them, create infinite number of workflows to basically power their entire business, leveraging AI in a myriad of different ways. So that's one differentiator, is nobody's out there that's willing to connect them all and actually create a usable product from all of these different tools.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the outsourcing of the integration of any of the tools into your flow. Let you guys do the heavy lifting of that, and then the flow is there, and then you can iterate with a number of the LLMs to see which one produces the best result. Is that fair?
Exactly. Or all of them in a single flow. You could have it go through Bard, and you could have it go through ChatGPT as a secondary iteration. It's really incredible, because no matter what tool they are using to either house their data or process their data, it can then come into our system, do whatever you need it to do, and then exit our system So instead of connecting every single instance of every software your organization has to all of the different LLMs through their APIs, this connects every single one of them without you needing to do all of those separate connections and pay those separate fees and have those different accounts, which is a massive headache if you want to leverage more than one AI tool.
You want to know what else it does? One of my teammates' favorites. Guess how many places he has to log in to just go and get stuff done?
Great point. Great.
One place.
Yeah.
So instead of no joke, like instead of having to log into 7 different tools and then have 7 different windows and then try to copy and paste from, I'm looking up and to the right because I have a screen here and I have a screen here with Flux Prompt. Soon enough, I'll have one screen, guys. No, but I say that in jest, but I'm not joking. It's so nice being able to work in multiple AI tools without having to have user accounts for every single person that needs it, and without having to have to go to those and log into them separately and individually. So it's
John,
actually a big time saver.
Yeah, John, it's just me. I happen to know what this costs to become a customer to get the Flux Prompt product. And I'd pay that fee just so I didn't have to log on to multiple. Forget about what the benefits, right?
Yeah, we're in different places in life. I'm not willing to quite pay that fee just so I don't have to log into 3 places. But I'm happy to pay the fee to get to the product.
Yeah.
But the logins are a perk.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So since we're on that subject, so without, I know there's probably multiple price tiers and a variety of things that, but to engage in this platform as a customer, it's a monthly fee. Is that the idea?
Yeah. Yeah. It's based on a license fee, on a monthly license fee to be into the platform. And then on top of the license fee, there's there's a usage volume. So you start hitting certain volumes and there's some power users that are scraping a ton of data every day. And we just pass that through. It's all the AI generation tokens that we're getting, and we're passing that along to the customer when they start using a lot. Like, for example, we had one customer that wanted 25,000 books they had on Amazon. These were ebooks and physical books. Their keywords were not very good for those 25,000 books. They only had 4 keywords per book. And we built a flow that went through and did a keyword discovery for every book based on the title and the information about the book. And now they had 25 top-notch keywords for every book that they would load in, but it's 25,000 of them, right? So that was a massive process that we ran through the whole system and started working on for that client. But
so it's reasonable for one to expect that if they're going to be tapping AWS or whatever you're tapping to get that data, there's a cost associated with that.
Yeah, it's basically a license fee plus usage, a usage component on it.
Yeah.
That's really the only way. That's how OpenAI really works. I mean, you're capped on, if you're in ChatGPT, you can't send certain number of messages. Like, they just cap you, right? Like, there's these models. There's just a usage because there are these brilliant models that have trillions of pieces of data, and you're just hitting it, and asking it for, like, give me a poem about whatever.
Yeah, right.
Massive model. That's like, yeah, you're using a Ferrari to do something that you can do with a Toyota. So
Yes. Yeah. So
right.
Let's talk about, if it's okay with you, the ask, the raise, what's in it for an investor, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's right. So finishing off the folks using it, like, we're still in pre-alpha we're still in alpha phase. We're going to be to beta probably within about a month or so. But even in alpha, we've had people like John who've come on and been like, hey, I really want to use this product. Really willing to come in and pay and use this product, even in the state that it's in, which is a great state. I mean, it's very usable and it's awesome. But we have a little bit more to go before we go to beta, which really means where we can open up the gates a lot more to more public folks. But even in this kind of alpha state, we have about 100 customers or users inside the system, and folks from Kimberly-Clark, Master Control, Warner Brothers, Traeger, John's group is in here loving it. There's this group, Impact Networking, that's a customer of ours. We're doing they're a $250 million IT consulting company, and they're a channel partner kind of relationship that we're developing with them, and that they've vetted a lot of AI technologies, and we are now in doing some pretty innovative pilots with them for both technology for them internally and then technology to sell to customers. So even in this kind of alpha state we're in, we're already getting a ton of traction from these folks that are loving it. To jump more to your question, we can go back to market in a bit, but we're looking. So since we actually talked last time, Arthur, we've closed a term sheet. We're raising $2 million on a 5.5 pre. We have about $1 million in, and we're looking for additional funds coming in. We have, there's some solid soft circled that would get us beyond this point, but we want to be talking with some of your folks, and because we know what kind of caliber of folks that you bring in here, so that's why we're really excited to be here.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome. So back to the pricing model, just in terms of the revenue generation, it's somebody buys the platform, they use it, you help train them on it, or they give you the task and you do it for them, which is additional revenue, right?
Yep. So in our revenue financial model, we have both the SaaS service, which is the primary business, but then we actually have a small portion that's services that we have already done some services for customers. And we expect it's just going to be part of our business that will come in and do services for clients. And they'll say, we love the platform, now go build this for us as well inside the platform, or we're happy, obviously, to have them build it themselves. But there's a service component in all of this as well. That's an additional revenue stream, and we've prepared for that personnel wise internally.
Great. So the $2 million on a 5.5 pre-money. And without too much prognostication, what's the short-term, middle-term, long-term goal? Is there an exit? You're just going to grow this massively because it's recurring revenue? What do you think is going to happen?
So it's a little dangerous to say, hey, this is exactly what's going to happen.
Of course, yeah.
The right
Lots of wiggle room there.
Right? A lot of wiggle room. Right thing we know is going to happen is that this is going to grow and it's going to make plenty of great money, especially as a SaaS platform. It's going to spit off cash, which will be terrific. At that point, then you kind of know you have a lot of options in terms of how you want to continue to grow this, and merging or getting purchased. I think that's the most likely scenario now is a future acquisition or strategic acquisition from some of the bigger guys. As we roll it up, we would love to be a part of, some of the most innovative large companies out there, but we've blazed our own trail and happy to do that as long as we feel like that's prudent for us. So there's a lot of potential options, I think, when you're looking at the market, especially with AI. And we're not just doing AI. That's the best part of what we're doing, is it's not about AI. It's about optimization and automation of your business and your processes. So if we're solving a need, we're solving pains and needs that are out there. We're just using AI to do it, to be honest. And because it's the best technology right now, that's really what we're solving for people. And we think there's such a long-term play there.
Yeah. I mean, traditionally what's happened, for example, with the big accounting firms, they're not accounting firms, they're consulting firms, right? And then they go in and are presented with a problem for a large company, because the large companies have to hire the accounting firms so they can look their board in the eye and say, we hired IBM, and so no one's going to get fired, sort of, metaphorically. And I can just see this as them taking this tool and saying, okay, you've got a big problem. Guess what? We can solve it. And we have this tool that, either they're paying for or they'll buy from you.
Yep.
to solve the problem, because my guess is that they don't have the chops to build what you guys built.
Yeah. I mean, we're just so much more nimble. That's how small companies are. We're nimble. We can pivot really quickly and find the right spot and target for the market.
So you said you have 100 customers now?
Yeah. So we're about now we're about 100 users and customers in the system. Again, it's kind of alpha phase. We're a blend of some of the early customers that are still in, and then we've moved for a while into all the paying customers. So we have a large chunk of our paying customers or larger organizations who are coming in as pilots, and we're starting to keep signing them up and signing them on.
And convert them to paying, right?
Yeah. And so to that point that you said before, really and I mentioned before, the consulting firms are really where we're targeting as our go-to market. Obviously, this thing we've talked to a lot of enterprises, and this can do a lot, right? But to get our foothold in the market as we're growing, we love this consulting space. And it's not the big consulting, the big four, even though Ernst & Young has been playing around with it, and ex-Deloitte guys have been playing around with it. We're focusing on more of like the 50 to 100 million consulting size or less. But even as I say that impact networking partnership they're much bigger already. I'm
going to jump in.
Who wants to jump in?
Hey, I just want to say one thing about the offer and the potential investors out there. One of the challenges trying to do due diligence on any AI company is there's just so much hitting the marketplace so fast. It's hard to figure out who's doing what. And so I want to just give everybody out there listening just a really critical piece of information. Brad just signed a new customer out of Chicago that's a $250 million a year IT consulting company. And this IT consulting company has shifted much of their business to AI consulting, because literally every single one of their customers is asking for AI automation and to become AI tech enabled, because they know every day that they're getting behind their competitors. And so this $250 million AI consulting company, who's very sophisticated and is looking at everything in the marketplace, just decided to use FlexPrompt as basically their lead product that they're taking into all of their customers to help upgrade them and AI enable them. So from a due diligence standpoint, that says a lot for the investors out there that are not necessarily AI focused, but interested in the AI space. When you bring in a customer like that, who is focused on AI, and that's their business of bringing businesses AI solutions using FlexPrompt, is a huge credibility boost to us and to any of the investors that get involved.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul.
Sorry, I got distracted there by a question. Paul, what Brad said earlier is that we're really not an AI company, we're an automation deal flow company. Is that the way, aside from the optics of this company that's shifted everything to AI, is that essentially what they're doing for people?
Yeah, they're taking one of the great things about FlexPrompt is it can incorporate all the different AI tools that are out there. Any AI tool that emerges in the future or that's out there right now, all the AI language models, you can set up a workflow and run it through ChatGPT-4, you can run it through Google system or whatever model you want to use. And so, yes, I mean, the short answer is yes, this IT consulting company is taking FlexPrompt, looking at whatever the best tools are, integrated into creating workflows for their customers. So we are an AI enabler, essentially. It's an AI automation platform. And, it's not completely accurate to say we're not an AI company. We're just a workflow company, because we are using a lot of AI in our own system.
We're AI first.
Yeah. We're AI first, right? So, but yes, we've got several other consultants now in test phase that are AI consultants that are all starting to use FlexPrompt and using it because it's such a great tool for them to walk into their customers to AI enable their customers.
Yeah, that's been one of the big benefits, and we had a meeting just the other day, a local event here in Utah called Utah Tech Week, and there were a lot of, we did a presentation, and Paul asked some of the folks. He said, "Well, what are you doing?" And they're like, "Well, we're doing an AI startup, but we want to use Flux Prompt inside this AI
Yeah,
startup."
right.
And into what they're doing. And that's been something that's been a reoccurring theme with our customers coming in, because we really make it easy for anyone. You don't need a big, expensive tech engineers, AI engineers, none of that. Like, you come in, it's no code, and all of a sudden you're AI enabled like that. There's APIs that can call our system and ingest data and send it right back out based on the workflows that you've built.
So what would be, thank you for that. What would be the use of funds? So you're going to raise $2 million, you got $1 million in, you fill your boots on this round. What's the best use of funds, or your intention to?
Yeah, the primary use of funds. So there's a little bit of expansion in the tech team. It's not too big. We actually have a really good tech team, and they're cruising. We're going to expand a little bit from the tech side, but then really focus a lot on the go-to-market and capture. We want to own the consulting space for AI. Like, if you go look up news about consultants in AI, like, it's bare. Like, there's nothing there for consultants in AI. It's all just talking about the big McKinsey's and like something they did 3 months ago, right? So it's a space we want to own, both with news and content and community. We want these consultants coming in. I mean, we had this gal who worked for Kimberly-Clark and has been a big brand person, worked on the biggest brands in the world. She come in and she's one of our power users. She's realizing what she can do with AI once she uses this. She's used ChatGPT and it's limited, but now she's using this. She's like, oh, I can throw in my competitors, their packaging, and understand their brand persona and profile based on their packaging. I can create my own new brand personas and profiles based on, or I can test different ones based on personalities and what a commercial might look like based on one personality versus another. Like, I could just keep going on, but she didn't know the kind of power she could use with AI until she stepped in here and started using the platform. Now her mind's like exploded with things that she can do. And that's really us supporting the consulting type of community of those who are coming in. Like, what can you do with AI, and what can you actually do? Not just like theoretically, what can you do? It's like, here's a tool and you're doing it right now. And we're showing you low-hanging fruit with the RFP, the blog generator. We have a sales automation thing. Those are all low-hanging fruit. The power starts coming in when people dive in and start using it, and they love it. And so that speaks to the space that we really want to own. And that's our go-to-market. Content we put out there. We've just started like with some LinkedIn content, barely. We're going to be doing a lot of videos and some ads and attention, but also, get to know yous and meetups with lots of groups. Because as soon as we start talking to some consultants, and it expands out to other consultants pretty quickly, especially when they see the power they can have here, and they get excited. We're excited about the product because of what people can do, and clients come in and they're excited. You saw it in kind of John's face.
Yeah.
And we just know there's the opportunity to do that. So that's why a lot of our funds are going to be focused on that.
So what's a good comparison of the learning curve to use your tool for a reasonably intelligent person that's not a programmer, and another? Like, can you talk about that? Like,
Yeah.
how daunting is the task to learn the tool?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, one of the things that are going to get us into beta is a refresh we're doing on some of the UI of those nodes themselves. And it will be a lot more approachable. And know that Edgar comes from Lucidchart. That's one we're so excited to have Edgar on our team. He built the whole second version of Lucid and Lucidchart, which is a huge tool now, right? He has so much experience in this. But that's kind of the preface to your question. At the moment now, we have a steel manufacturing company, and they're coming in, and they were scared they're like, well, this is intimidating at first, but then every time, and I'm unprompted, mind you, they say within 30 minutes, I got it. And it was so easy to just move things around, and I understood how things could connect, and I could now build flows together. And we want to take that 30 minutes down to 30 seconds, right? Like that's our goal internally, but folks within 30 minutes, like they're building really complex stuff. We had a lady come in, built a flow that had 80 different modules all connected together and doing fascinating things with it. And so I would say a regular person, yeah, probably within 30 minutes of playing with it, all of a sudden you get it. But then you also get AI, because we're training people how to think with AI also.
Yeah.
It's not just the tool. Just
one thing that Edgar mentioned is building that library and that repository of pre-built solutions as well.
Yeah.
For any type of industry, this X, Y, or Z industry, here is a set of tools that are most commonly used, but also the ability to add on to those or create custom.
And can you screw it up? Meaning, let's say we took one of the tools and it's open, meaning that you can edit it, right? Can you like flip the wrong switch and have it crash and burn and have to start all over again?
yeah, Edgar, do you want to speak to that? I mean,
Yeah. Well, I think you can pretty much screw up anything in
Yes.
software
Fair
if
enough.
if you try hard enough.
Yeah.
No, we are building right now some really great functionality to help you just feel comfortable. That's what we want. We want our customers to go in there and feel comfortable, feel like they know exactly what they need to do to build something. We're going to give them templates, like Mark was saying. We're going to give them instructions, onboarding, all of this stuff. And then we're creating training materials online. And then in addition to that, we've just done, autosave, so you can't lose anything.
Right.
People can copy and their flows just in case they mess something up. There's so many functionalities that we already have in place that will keep you safe and keep your flows safe.
Yeah, I feel better already.
Yeah. Good.
but I want to add one more thing to the raise and what we're doing as a company, just so you guys know structurally, we have built this company with this company. So I started my very first prototypes. I broke Google Sheets like really fast, but I used it with AI and I broke it with AI. And then everything we've done, iterate along the way, we've been using AI to expand. And so I don't know if you saw that news the other day, I just saw a little snippet of it. The CEO of OpenAI saying that, hey, we could see the first one-person unicorn as a company out there. I think we're, yeah, that's a could. I think we're a little ways away from that. But what we're focusing on is we have a really good team, an expert team, and we are using AI to expand our own capabilities in everything we do. And so we're using FluxPrompt for marketing lead generation, for marketing content creation, blog creation. Edgar's using it with all the product stories and working with the dev teams. The dev teams are using it to speed up their coding. I'm using it for some of the fundraising stuff that I'm doing right now. Like when you're talking about using AI within a company, we want to be a poster child for that. I mean, we don't want to do it to be the poster child. We want to do it because we know it works, and we want to extend our own capabilities. And that's just so much in the ethos of us as an organization.
Yeah. Eat your own cooking sort of thing. Yeah, makes.
I mean, it's the best cooking to eat. AI is the best.
Yeah. Super cool. So what's going to happen? I know it's hard to predict, but is the next round within view, or is the revenue going to be enough so you don't have to raise any more money? What are you thinking about that?
So the way we want to manage the money is I want to get to cash flow positive. Like every round, I want to be hitting toward a cash flow positive target. And if things come in that speed that up, where we say, hey, there's this huge opportunity, then we go raise for that opportunity. But I want to run businesses. I mean, at Amazon, I feel like I always say this, at business school, I learned about business. At Amazon, I learned how to be a good businessman, like a kind of world-class business person, at least trying to achieve that from all the great examples there. And here we want to run a business that's profitable. And so with the raise, our full run plans and everything is getting to profitability and then beyond profitability with the raise that we have now. And then in terms of speeding that up, you know, that's when other opportunities come up, and we know that, you know, people come knocking at your door and there's opportunities that come around, and then we assess them as they come in. But the core base plan is, yeah, get full the profitability and make some great money with this product and with the team.
Is the bringing on a big new customer a CapEx issue?
No, a new customer at this stage, it's getting them familiar and comfortable enough with AI to do that. Now,
That's personnel, right?
it's the internal right now, it's them internally, personnel. If we were to bring on, like, with the content generate and components we're building, we're confident we can bring on many large new companies. That our limit right now would be services, right? Like, how much services could we do? Well, we can only do so many until we cap out and hire more people, so we can service that. That's the limit of the service side. The SaaS side, there isn't necessarily a limit.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Is there anything else you want to cover before we jump?
Let's see. Did we answer all the questions that were coming
Yeah.
in through
Yeah.
here?
So
Okay.
far.
Okay, great. I think there. Oh,
Let's go. This is like, nobody's really doing what you're doing, right?
so there's some other folks. Like, we kind of have a landscape out here. No one is doing what we're doing with AI automation for business operators, particularly in the consulting space. So there's a tool that came out called LangChain about a year ago, a little more than a year ago. And when it came out, I had already been building this, and I was like, oh, that's cool, because it's like a code version of trying to chain together AIs. And so all these engineers are in this kind of code base, and it's an open source code base. It's just chaining together stuff. Really cool tool, but it's really focused on the engineers and the engineering side. And as you know, like most new technology fields, it's technology and it's built by tech guys. So at first they're building stuff for tech guys.
Yeah.
And our early move here and our move with this whole thing is like, we're business guys. Yeah, I know how to code and I've done tech stuff, but I'm a business guy first. And in my ethos, it's always like, make it simple for the user. Huge fan of Apple, huge fan of Nintendo. Like those guys are some of the best at making it just simple for people and making complex technology simple to understand.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about what Edgar does in his work. And that's what I've focused on a lot of my work. And we really are focused on for the business operator. So when it comes down to it, no one's doing what we're doing for the business person. This is cool technology for the techie guys. And it's beautiful. There's some beautiful technologies being built, but that's why we're really happy about our space, and we're confident with who we are and what we built, because we do build stuff and we know the business space really well.
Yeah, I happen to, I don't use Apple computers, and I'm just one sample set, but I have an iPhone, and it just works. Like, it just works, right? Not that Samsung doesn't or whatever, but it really is comforting to know it's just going to work, because people get frustrated, right?
Yeah, and that's really, AI it still is frustrating in certain things. There's a lot to build to make it just work. But that's where we're going. That's where we're headed. That's our whole ethos with the technology and what we're building.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, this has been awesome. Thanks everybody for jumping in, and John, if you're still there, thank you for giving us your comments, and Paul and Jeff, of course, and Mark, and I forget anybody? No. So
Yeah.
Brad, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no, thanks, Arthur. And we're excited. If, as folks are interested, please reach out to us. It's going to be closing it's filling up, but we'd love to talk with folks, both with what they're doing, and even if you want to really implement AI in your business, hit us up. We'll jump on and get some workflows built with you to get it going.
Sounds terrific. Thanks again. And like I said, we're going to make sure everybody gets connected directly. You can talk about the raise before it's totally filled. And then I'm going to slide down the hill and see you at some point. Jeff, you're still there, Paul. And like I say, thank you all for being with us today. And thank you for sharing with us the only thing you can't make more of, and that's your time. Till next time. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Edgar. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Arthur.